Diaz was born in a very poor family in Tanzania. His parents were so poor that they could not buy notebooks and pencils for him to go to school. Diaz felt embarrassed to show up in school without a notebook and a pencil. He couldn't do his homework without a notebook and a pencil. When he was in 5th grade, he decided that he didn't want to go to school anymore. He dropped out of school. Around the same time, father and mother decided that they could not afford to take care of Diaz. They sent him away to live with his grandparents. Father took a special interest in the little boy. He loved Diaz and wanted him to succeed in life. He wanted Diaz to go to school. He especially wanted Diaz to know about the God in heaven. Grandfather looked around and found school not too far from the house. But Diaz didn't want to return to school. He would rather play with other boys or even work than sit in a classroom. Grandfather, however, kept encouraging him. "My grandson," he said, "day after day, it would be good if you go back to school. There are so many important things that you need to learn." While grandfather was encouraging Diaz to go back to school, he also taught him about God. Hour after hour, grandfather told the boy interesting stories from the Bible. He spoke about how God created the world and Adam and Eve in 6 days and rested on the 7th day. He spoke about how Adam and Eve sinned and sin entered the world. He spoke about Noah and the flood, Abraham and Isaac and Moses leading the Israelites through the Red Sea and to the Promised Land. He spoke about Jesus coming to earth and dying on the cross, so Diaz could be saved from sin and live with him forever. Grandfather taught Diaz how to pray. After a long time, Diaz agreed to go back to school. Diaz didn't like school at first, but then he began to enjoy going, even more than school, though he really enjoyed listening to grandfather tell Bible stories. After a while, he started to read the Bible on his own. He shared what he had learned in Sabbath school. After a while, someone asked Diaz to preach on Sabbath. The boy, who once didn't like to go to school and didn't know anything about God, stood up in front of the church and preached about his love for God. Grandfather was so happy. After that Sabbath, Diaz was asked to preach again and again. He happily spoke about his great love for God. No sooner had he started preaching than some boys began to tease him. They called him Pastor. "Hey, Pastor Diaz," said one with a smile. "How are you today, Pastor Diaz?" said another. Diaz was not annoyed by the teasing. Being called Pastor made him think all the more serious about his plans in life. He did not feel like he deserved to be called a pastor, but after a while he decided that God was calling him to be a pastor. Today, Diaz is studying to become a pastor at the University of Arusha, a Seventh-day Adventist university in Tanzania. He is so glad that grandfather encouraged him to go to school and most importantly taught him about God. "I thank God for using my grandpa to pave the way for me to become a pastor," he says. Part of this quarter's 13th Sabbath offering will help build a new building at the University of Arusha so more students like Diaz will have a place to study. Thank you for planning a generous offering. Thank you so much to my sister and my animation team who helped me on this video. Also, please give this video a thumbs up. That would be really awesome. And if you could also subscribe, it helps motivate me and the team. See you in the next video.